12, 13, 14 series, your catalog carries all these, and they're available for the old school as well as the old school off-road street. And on our website, if you go to the product literature section and click on the spring specification icon, there'll be a 25, I think now it's a 27-page long document because we recently updated it with new product fitments. You can mix and match your own shock. If you know what your damper or free length should be, the application free length and compressed length are, you can get a damper and a coil spring to fit most any desire you have on there. Plus, what's also nice is all our dampers, all our springs are on there, and their ratings, what their free lengths are, compressed lengths are, their spring rates are if it's a coil spring. So you can use that as a tool with your customer if there's a question whether the product is performing correctly, whether it's warrantyable. It has that level of detail for you to help you either say, yep, it's got to be warranted, or nope, sorry, it's something else. Front fork springs, we really now have 3 options available to you. Standard height replacement is a progressive rate spring, lifetime warranty. Again, the lengths for all these are on the web. If it changes more than a 1/4 inch from what the original length is, we stand behind it, we'll replace it, no charge for you. Kit, I now call the traditional lowering kit, is what you see here, comes with the spacers that go beneath the dampening rod. So this involves separating lower leg from the main tube, pulling the dampening rod out, putting either 1 set or 2 set in, depending if you want 1 or 2 inches of lowered right height up front, then a new seal, new oil, reassemble it. It's pretty labor intense. But for those that want to keep the bike level where it's at, if they've slammed the rear, you certainly want to lower the front equally. That's a tool now that's available for them. But it's not the cash and carry kind of thing, unless you know your customer real well, but I don't think you want them to be doing that. They'll be calling you and you'll be doing the work eventually anyway. So that led us to introduce this, our front end drop-in spring kit, which, little story, depending on model of course, but say you've got someone who has a Sportster and they want to lower the rear because they have a short inseam, or it's a gal just new to riding, she wants to feel comfortable with her feet on the ground. Excuse me. So you lower the rear, and you know they've been one of those tech savvy on the forums. Oh, it says if you lower the back an inch, you got to lower the front an inch. Yeah, you should. Not mandatory. We all know that. So now that customer says, okay, I want these shocks. These are an inch lower for my bike. I want those. What do you got for the front? And so you get them that traditional kit, let's say. Say, okay, how much is that? Oh, that's $100. Oh, that's not bad. What's it cost to install? Okay, you know where I'm going with that. So chances are that not only will you possibly lose that front spring sale, but now all of a sudden this goes back on the shelf because they're saying, oh man, I'm not doing the rear without doing the front, and I can't afford the front. So this now kind of helps you salvage that sale. Excuse me. So now you got that guy or gal that wants to lower the rear, and now they also want to do the front. For $10 more for the kit, again, depending on, like it's a Sportster or Dyna where you can easily get to the fork tube plug, this is a no-brainer. They could safely do it themselves. Because now all you do, those 2 models, let's use as an example, you lift the front end up slightly to take the load off, take the fork tube plug out, take the stock spring out, drop this shorter mainspring, a compensator spring, which is something along this line, very soft spring, a preload spacer like you normally would have in there, excuse me, put fork tube plug back in, say that 3 times real fast, and then lower the bike back down. The weight of the bike then, by design, will compress that compensator spring to a solid, just like that, and just that easy, 2 inches lower. No muss, no fuss.
Long travel as well?
No, only stock travel. By design, it adds about a half inch in the travel category, but we don't have any of the long, because then you're getting into A-arms and everything else, and it gets real expensive. It's just meant for being a great upgrade from the OE unit. Got a whole lineup of ATV shocks. They're basically, you know, I called the 812 a camouflaged 412. That's really camouflaged 412 because it's got a cover, keep the dirt and sand and whatever else you're running through out of the unit, but that underneath that sock is a 412, basically a 412. Four-man's it's a NASCAR style of stiffening up your front or rear end, the donut wedge that you just kind of roll into the coil spring. Better known as the oh shit bar. And bolts right on. And it has a telescoping handle here. So depending on the rider's size and, you know, arm reach, they can move